Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lictus24 and welcome back to another video. I know, a second video within a day. How crazy is that? I think this is just a telling sign that the 40k news drought, which we've been suffering through lately, the official one anyway, I mean we still have rumours and whatnot, but the official one's coming to an end with the Elysius contrast paints. And it looks like the new talking point for a lot of people will be Apocalypse. And it's something that I'm more than happy to talk about because I'm very much interested in it. Now, yesterday we had sort of an announcement, a closer look at Apocalypse and what it pertains to. And this is the second part of that. And it's basically looking at the various phases of Apocalypse lightly. And how you can construct your army and how they interact. Because it doesn't go into a great deal how they interact, but it gives you a small overview, which is quite interesting. Well, first of all, as I said in the previous video, this game system seems to be all about detachments. I know I called them formations last time, but it's detachments. Kill team models, 40k units, this one is about detachments. And it seems that you can have multiple detachments in your army. I mean, you'd obviously expect it to be Apocalypse. I wonder what the limit is for Apocalypse games, detachment-wise. I mean, the blurb on the new article they released says that you could take your pick of whatever you want, but I'm wondering if there is going to be a limit. Like in the 40k book, there is a limit to how many detachments you are allowed to have, and I wonder if they're going to have some similar restriction to that in Apocalypse. I'm wagering the points won't be restricted. That's just going to be something that both players end up agreeing on, because obviously if you want to play a massive 10,000 point battle, then you can. But then again, we've had no conclusive proof that we are going to be using points in Apocalypse. I mean, if everything's broke down to units, from units to actual battalions, then I don't suppose it matters what individual gear your individual units have. Let's say, because my Genestealer cult might include a squad of Acolytes, one with a Rock Grinder. Will that be included in the points? I mean, will they just have a standard loadout? Like, just a carpet loadout for everybody? Very interesting. But I think that's something that will be revealed in time. Anyway, going off on a tangent. Yes, detachments. Detachments. That is the order of the day. Detachments. So, you build your army, get a load of detachments. So if you want to have a battalion attachment and you just want loads of troops, which is what I'm looking at as a NID player, then you can have that. But in each detachment has a commander, and basically they act like a sort of a linchpin, according to the blurb for the detachment. And it says here, you activate all units in a detachment at the same time. So this goes back to the point that you will be moving all the detachments as one. You basically treat them as a unit. This means that they all move, shoot, and fight together. The key to each detachment is its commander. These are mighty heroes who lead their detachment into battle, and any units that are too far away from the commander are at risk of routing and being removed from play. Right, so again, leadership is probably going to be a thing, because if you get routed, then I imagine that you're just going to get completely removed. I mean, I don't think there's going to be a mechanic where you can fight under strength units. A commander is a unit in the detachment with the highest leadership value, and if it has the character keyword, then it becomes a warlord. Each warlord in your army generates extra command assets, powerful abilities that can sway the course of battle. So, again, confirmation that we're going to have multiple warlords. So if you have, say, 3 detachments and you have 1 commander in each, you've got yourself 3 warlords. I wonder how that works with the Supreme Command detachment, because that is just purely based on HQs, and you can have just one purely based off characters. That'd be quite interesting to look at. And now we're going to look at the actual phases. Now this is something that is quite interesting. The turn sequence is broken down here, nice little chart. Number 1, initiative phase, which determines which player has the initiative this turn. So this is brought over from Kill Team. So it's not rigid like 40k, you go, I go, you go, I go. It's more flexible. We both roll off, and I guess, from the wording here, from the way it's worded, I guess that's it. Whoever's got the highest wins the roll-off and goes first. So, yeah. I'm guessing this ties in neatly with what I said before. The damage phase, all damage is done at the end of the turn sequence. So, it doesn't matter what you do to your opponent or what your opponent does to you, you're still going to have a chance to use your models. So you do your initiative phase first to find out who goes first. Then you do your orders phase to mark out command units, set up reinforcements, generate command assets, and issue orders to detachments. I'm guessing this is like a buffing phase, or where you can generate your sort of stratagems and things like that, just to relate it to something from 40k. And after that, you do the action phase. Now, this is interesting. Move, shoot, and fight with detachments. So, is that we move, shoot, and fight? Or do we just do one of those three? Do we move, do we shoot, or do we fight? And like I said, that's the damage phase. The blurb here. The key here is that the damage phase comes after the action phase, which we know. This means that each of your units will set to get activated, even if they have taken damage that may take them out of action. No longer will your favourite character perish or newly painted unit be wiped out before they actually get to do something. That is very good. A welcome addition to this game. When you move a unit, all the models in must finish their move within half an inch of another model in the unit. This is because there will be so many units on the battlefield that you need space. Yeah, I see that. To this end, Apocalypse movement trays will provide incredibly useful for moving your large infantry units and ensuring that all your models remain coherency. They'll be useful just for anyone with horde armies, I reckon. Even if you don't use them in Apocalypse. After you have activated your detachment in the action phase, your opponent then gets to activate one of theirs. This means you'll never be waiting around for someone to move an entire army, so no matter how massive the battle, you're never out of the action for long. That is also very good. Very looking at the keen on minimising the downtime, it looks like. So, a bit like shooting in Kill Team. I move one detachment, you move another, I move another, you move another. Which makes me feel that the action phase, you're either going to be moving, shooting, or charging, or fighting, or whatever. You're not going to be able to do all three. And I think that's going to cut down on the bloat of time, wasted time. So the games will be quite quick in comparison to what they were before. And okay, now we get to look at the data sheets. And as you can see right there, we've got a data sheet for an Intercessor versus 40k and Apocalypse. Now, a Intercessor, movement 6, weapon skill, bliss skill, yada yada yada, exactly the same. Why wouldn't it be? But Apocalypse is broken down to a squad. So a squad of Intercessors is 5 models. And it looks like that's it. So you move 6, weapon skill 3, bliss skill 3. That's fair enough. Attacks 1, wounds 2, leadership 6, save 6+. Okay, that's very interesting. 6+ save. So this must be on a D12 system. Because, well, it must be, doesn't it? I mean, otherwise that's going to be really, really bad. I mean, Christ, if a Space Marine's got 6 sub-save on a like D6 system, I hate to see what Gords are going to get. I may as well just not ping any dice. And, yeah. So we're going to have a look at the damage as well, the actual weapons. Bolt rifle. Small arms, so we're going to have different, well, descriptions for each of the weapons. So I'm guessing that's going to go from small arms, which individual small infantry units carry, right up to the big macro weapons, the Titan killers. Range 30 inches, yeah, that's fair enough. Attacks user, yep. SAP and SAT abilities. Okay, let's read the blurb. All weapons now have 2 stats. SAP, strength against personnel, and SAT, strength against tanks. Of course, any weapon can damage anything, but as you might expect, you're more likely to damage a tank with a multi-melter than a lasgun. Okay, if you hit with the weapon, this shows the number you need to roll on a D12, there we go, to assign a small blast marker to the target unit. So, unsurprisingly, bolt rifles are far more effective against infantry than they are against tanks. Right, okay, so judging from this, you got your Space Marine Intercessors. They pew-pew at a squad of Gaunts. Okay, they're still hitting on the 3+. And they just have the one attack with the gun. So the attacks are user. So strength against personnel on a 5+ on a D12 system. They do a blast marker. And whatever a blast marker is, we don't know yet, but that's the way it works. So pretty easy to get your head around. But against a tank, I wonder if Titans are included in that SAT. Strength against tanks. Is it strength against Titans as well? Or they're just done it as tanks? Either or. So you're hitting on a 3 and wounding on an 8+ on a D12 system against a tank. Okay, that's fair enough. So I'm guessing that toughness is no longer a thing in Apocalypse. Makes sense. Well, sort of makes sense. Everything can wound everything. I think that's still what they're going for. So you can't just have a big unkillable unit smashing its way around the battlefield, absolutely breaking everything, and your opponent can't do anything about it, which would suck the fun right out of this. So now we've had a quick look at the mechanics of the game, GW have also released a first sort of faction focus for, a faction in Apocalypse, surprisingly enough. And unsurprisingly, it is the big boys in blue, well, big boys in any colour, but, Ultramarines for this example, Space Marines. Now, Space Marines will be, I don't know. I think they're going to have a lot of rules carried over from the 40k. From just quickly looking at loading up the page and saying they shall know no fear, they're going to have a lot of rules carried over. They shall know no fear. Re-roll fail morale test taken for adapted Astartes in this detachment. Seems simple enough. But something that is not as simple and is quite interesting, it says in the little blurb below that, if you're looking for something a little bit more unusual, however, the massive roster available for Space Marines open up all sorts of armies never before possible in the standard Warhammer 40,000. Ever wanted to field a lore-accurate battle company at full strength? A crushing force of Iron Hands Dreadnoughts, an air wing of Storm Ravens, Stormwalk Inceptors and Thunderhawks, whatever kind of army you want and however you want to play, Space Marines have you covered. So that goes really well for a lot of people who just like to play. I know of a person who is really excited to play a Dreadnought army, and I'm guessing in Apocalypse he can do that, just have a detachment full of Dreadnoughts and play that. Or, like it says here, you can have an air support detachment of Storm Ravens, Stormwalks, and Thunderhawks. Wouldn't want to think about having an entire battle fought against nothing but Thunderhawks, but apparently you can do it. And the actual little article is give us some top units to just look at and see how they play. First off, we have Intercessors. Troops are just as useful in Apocalypse as they are in War 4000. After all, destroying the enemy is one thing, but you need to capture objectives. Now, okay, so that's confirming that troops are going to be probably really handy for capturing objectives. They might get a buff where they can hold it better, or you need troops to capture objectives. Okay. And holding ground to win. Intercessors are incredibly useful for their durability and versatility against infantry. They're capable of scything down squads with bolt rifle and respective close combat attacks, and they can even threaten tanks in a pinch. When the dust settles after the battle has ended, you'll thank yourself for having taken a few of these. So, I think that's just a little subtle hint that troops will still be a big thing in Apocalypse, because, well, they'll hold objectives. And we have Rowboat himself. Now, this will be interesting to see how he works in this. Commander, Bastion of Inspiration, and Close Combat Beast. That's fair enough. You can't go wrong with Roboute Guilliman. Even on the vast battlefields of Apocalypse, the Ultramarines Primarch makes for a terrifying force, thanks to the Destroyer trait, which doubles the blast markers placed on units you wound. It's going to be interesting to see how blast markers interact, and what they actually do. And excellent SAP, Strength Against Personnel, and SAT, Strength Against Tanks status. You can learn more about how these work in our rules preview, but it's fair to say the Emperor's Sword will make light work of pretty much anything in your way. Yeah, I can pretty much agree with that. The Emperor's Sword will pretty much make light work of anything it touches, except for anyone that has to be touching the handle. So, weapon. The Emperor's Sword. Type melee, range melee, attacks user, so how many attacks Rowboat has, we don't know yet. Strength against personnel, strength against tanks, 4+ each. Wow. So you'd be able to walk up to your Emperor class Titan and still do damage on a 4+. And let's face it, he's probably going to be hitting on a 2. That's pretty good for a sword. Abilities Destroyer. So, we already said, Destroyer doubles the amount of blast markers you inflict on a unit. Now, blast markers wounds? Or do they translate into wounds? That's something we'll have to keep an eye on. Meanwhile, Guilliman possesses quite an invaluable I'll reread that again. Meanwhile, Guilliman possesses a suite of invaluable tactical abilities, as you would expect, Primarch. Author of the Codex Astartes gives you more command assets to choose from, while Master of Battle gives you the ability to change which order it has been issued to an Imperium detachment, allowing you to react to your opponent's plans. Yep, that makes sense. Guilliman generating more command assets. Yeah, I can see that. So here we go. Author of the Codex Astartes. If a unit is on the battlefield at the start of a generate command asset step, you generate one extra command asset. So I'm assuming that's going to be something along the lines of an extra stratagem that you can use or have the ability to use. And if you're building your own deck of command assets, then it's quite the boon that you can have. Master of Battle. Once per action phase, when you select a detachment from your army led by Imperial Commander to carry out this order, but before any units in that detachment make an action, excluding free actions, that phase you can replace that detachment's order with Advance, Aim, Fire, or Assault. Okay. So two things. We're going to get free actions. So we might be getting something akin to the... Is it you need Soul Burst action? Is it you need the... that hybrid Eldari faction, I think it is, where they kill something, they get a free action. So those might be still in the mix for Apocalypse. But I think this backs up what I just said, really, where you can only do one of the three things in the action phase, either move, shoot, or assault. It says there, advance, aim, fire, or assault. So, yeah, that's pretty nice. In short, Apocalypse gives Guilliman a battlefield worthy of his well-deserved reputation. Very, very true. And it just goes on in the article to explain, okay, look, why not buy one of these big old tanks for your Primaris Marines? That way just happened to be releasing at the same time as Apocalypse. The Repulsor Executioner, and we've got a little stat profile here. I'm guessing this is their little way of advertising their new toy to all prospective buyers. Heavy Laser Destroyer. Type Heavy. So I'm assuming that if this is 840k, moving will have a penalty on shooting. Range 72, yep, long range. Strength, well, attacks 2, so two pew shots with this. Strength against personnel 9, so it's gonna really have a hard time injuring infantry with the big cannon. Strength against tanks, however, not so much, 4+. Okay, Macro Plasma Incinerator, type heavy, range 36. Attacks 2, strength against personnel 5, strength against attacks 6. So the Macroplasma Incinerator seems a more short range, but a better bet for wounding infantry against tanks, whereas if you want to do damage against tanks or heavy stuff, you use the Heavy Laser Destroyer, because that's guaranteed enough 4+, which is good. But, I forgot to mention, the fact it's got 9+, 4+, 5+, 6+ there, these things are going to be subject to change. Cover, maybe a -1, maybe you've got opponents who's got shrouding and that kind of thing, which will make it harder to hit or harder to wound. We don't know. It says here, and each can fire twice, provided the Executioner moves less than half its full allowance. Only question is, which will you pick? So yeah, that's pretty nice. It's also got the Aquilin Optics. When this unit makes a shoot action, if it has remained stationary or moved distance less than half... Oh, well, that's right. That's just talking about the... if it moves not very far, it can shoot twice. Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, we're going into now top command assets. So I'm guessing these are going to be, like I said before, your stratagems. So first off, we've got Adeptus Astartes, Flamecraft. The Salamanders have an innate understanding of a flame weaponry and can direct streams of white-hot promethium to create all-consuming infernos. Yeah, that sounds about right for Salamanders. This command asset can be used in the action phase. When used, select one detachment from your army led by Salamander's commander. Unit at the end of the phase. Each time an attack made with a small arms weapon by Salamander unit, the detachment targets an enemy unit within half the weapon's maximum range. That attack automatically scores hits. No hit roll was made. Alternatively, this command asset can be used after making a hit roll for an attack made by an Adeptus Astartes unit from your army. When used, re-roll the hit roll. Okay. So, two things here. It says here that if your detachment is led by a Salamander's commander, does that mean you could have just a Salamander's commander and everything else could be Ultramarines? Or does it all have to be Salamanders? That's interesting. But apart from that, it's just saying that use this and your infantry unit, or your small arms rather, a unit at the end of the phase, each time made with a small arms weapon by Salamander's unit in detachment, if you use it at half range, it automatically hits, representing a flamethrower. So that's not necessarily just troops, it's just things with small arms. mostly troops, you'd imagine, but you never know. Or alternatively, you could reroll failed hit roll just by using this, really. Alternatively, the command asset can be used for making a hit roll for an attack made by Adeptus Astartes in your army. So it's either very specific, Salamander's Commander, detachment, small arms fire auto hits, or you can just go for the unit in your army. Just pick one unit and go, yep, that rerolls all hit rolls. That's pretty good. Psychic powers. Adeptus Astartes, Psychic power, Null Zone. The Psyker unleashes the full might of his mind to cast down his opponent's defences, both technological and mystical, rendering them vulnerable to the retribution of the Adeptus Astartes. This command asset is a psychic power. You can only include this command asset in your deck if your army includes at least one Adeptus Astartes Psyker. So no psychic phase. Psychic powers are done in a different phase. Okay, let's read on. This command asset can be used at the start of your damage phase. Right, okay. When used, select one Adeptus Astartes Psyche unit from your army to manifest this power. Until the end of the turn, subtract 2 from saving throws made from enemy units while they are in 12 of the Psyche unit. Right, okay. So, you activate this in the damage phase, and your opponent has to subtract 2 from saves for enemy units while they're in 12 of the Psyche. Okay, that's interesting. So, these command assets can activate at different times, because that one at the top there, the Salamander's one, action phase, but this one at the start of the damage phase. Okay, that's really interesting. So I'm guessing both parties choose what cards they activate at the same time, rather than take it in turns, because I don't know how the damage phase works. We rolled initiative, so we decide who activates units first. But it's damage phase. Both players do damage at the same time? It's really confusing. And that's it for, well, this little article. It's quite interesting. I am excited about Apocalypse. I think without looking at the rules, I can't make a definite decision. But, it's a big but, I'm thinking if it's playing the way I'm thinking it is, where you know that you are going to use your models no matter what. They can't just be blown off the table, which is good. I'm thinking this might be a thing that would just replace all the games of 40k for me. Because I've got the models, and I'd like to use them all. And I know my friends would like to do the same thing. I know one of my friends has got a monolith, and he loves monoliths, but he just doesn't use it because it's gaga poo poo. And I've got some stuff that is gaga poo poo myself, but I'd love to use it. So yeah, well, like I said before in the previous video, I'm going to keep an eye on this, because it's sounding better and better with each one. I know we've just had a general overview of the rules, and a quick peek at the Astartes, the Adeptus Astartes command assets, or sneak peek at the guns. But it looks good. It looks really good. And I don't know. I think this thing's got potential. It really does. But tell me what you guys think. I mean, are you looking forward to Apocalypse? Are you not looking forward to Apocalypse? Are you confused by some of the wording of the rules? Are you confused by the SAT versus the what's the other one? Strength against tanks, strength against infantry? Well, whatever it is. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. That's it for today, guys. Fingers crossed another one of these comes out tomorrow, because I really love talking about this. And I will see you all next time. See you later.